Hey y'all, hey. Welcome back to the Self series where we are exploring what it really means to return back to ourselves. So today we're going to be talking about self-trust. Do you trust yourself? I want to know. So the conversation that I want to be having today, right? The thing that I want to talk about today is, because we're going to circle back to these, but the thing that I do want to talk about today is what broke your self-trust in the first place. Because people don't just wake up one day and suddenly stop trusting themselves. You know, it happens slowly. You ignore your intuition or, seek everybody else's opinions or everybody else's advice. Breaking promises to ourselves. We stay where we're unhappy. And a lot of the times we silence our own needs, which means that over time, we stop believing in ourselves. And so the thing is with self-trust, it's not something that you find, it's something that you rebuild, right? But how do you do that? So every time you ignore what you know is right for you, you teach yourself that your own voice can't be trusted, right? And I think that that's the place to start. Because if you look at self-trust, and if we look at the lack of self-trust, if you have, a lack of self-trust, it isn't all just lost at once. It happens, like I said, over time. It's lost like one broken promise to yourself at a time. And the reason why I want to talk about this, right, is because it's so important. Again, we're talking about all the different aspects and elements to self, right? And what it means to return back to self. However, that trust within yourself is one of the most biggest things that I believe that you need in order to propel forward and live a life that you're proud of and a life that you want to live, right? And if you think about it, right, the relationship that you have with yourself is built on evidence. Every promise that you do keep to yourself becomes evidence that you can trust yourself. I've lived in a season in life where I didn't trust myself. I had no trust for myself. I didn't trust my decision making. I didn't trust that I knew what was best for me. I believed that the decisions that I would make for myself would be the wrong decisions. And I've really had to do a lot of work to reprogram and rewire my brain and my mindset and rebuild that trust back within myself. So now I show up completely differently in the world, right? Like now I trust myself, even if I make the wrong decision, like I'm okay with that. I trust whatever decisions that I do need to make because I trust myself now, and I trust that I know what is best for myself, and I believe that I know what is best for myself. However, now I do also keep promises to myself, and it's something that I had to rebuild. Like I said, it wasn't just found, I had to rebuild it, and now that it's here and it's strong, it will remain, because we talk about trust for other people, and for a lot of people they need to be able to trust people, right? But you come first. You matter first. So if you don't trust yourself, how can you then expect other people to then give you that trust that you're lacking from within? And I think sometimes we get lost in this thought process of, like when I've changed, or when my life has changed, or when I'm a bit more confident, or whatever that voice in your head is saying to you, that when you get there, that's when the self-trust you'll find it, right? But I think it's the opposite, and I really do believe that confidence doesn't come before self-trust. Self-trust comes first, and then it builds confidence because you keep the promises to yourself. You show up in the best way for yourself, because confidence is it's the result of repeatedly proving to yourself, I do what I say I'm going to do, right? So I've got a little question to ask you. I've got a little question. I just, I like picking your brain. But I want you to ask yourself this. If your best friend treated you the way that you treat yourself, would you trust them? And I don't need an answer right away. You know, it's food for thought. You know, I just want you to think on it. I want you to reflect on it. I want you to let it marinate and see what comes up. Because if the answer is no, let's turn inward. Let's start doing some of the work, yeah? The thing is with self-trust is you might believe that self-trust is about making the right decision. Self-trust is about believing. So whatever happens, I'll back myself. Whatever happens, I'll figure it out. Whatever happens, I've got this. Because even if you do make the wrong decision, that's what life's all about, right? We've got to navigate. We're not always going to make the best decision for ourselves. We're not always going to make the right decision for ourselves. However, trusting yourself and believing that you know what? I'm going to do this, and whether it works out for me or not, it's cool. I got this. You know, if you look back and you reflect on your life and all of the history that you've got and all the evidence that you've built up and all the proof that you have survived 100% of your worst days. You've got through the storms, those dark seasons, you managed to navigate through them. You know, you're still here now to this day. You're watching this video. You've come through it all. And that's something that you should be really proud of. And that alone should prove to you that you have the capability in being able to trust yourself. Yeah. You know, in my last video, I spoke about a conversation that I had with my Jimeno, like last year. And, you know, it was about like accountability, right? For like my past decisions and things like that. And, you know, at the time there was still lack of self-trust, let's be real. You know, I was able to hold myself accountable, but I still did not trust myself within my decision-making skills and people that I was choosing to surround myself with. I've still had to develop it. I've still had to keep strengthening this trust that I now have within myself. Because regardless, right? Like, even if, you know, I'm around people or I meet new people, you know, I trust myself to be able to see and accept them for who they are. I trust myself with whatever decisions I'm making now. And even if it doesn't work out for the best for me, like, thank God I made a decision, right? You know, thank God I'm moving in some sort of direction. And as long as it's in accordance with my integrity and with my morals and with how I like to show up in the world, we're good. Yeah? If I make a decision, it doesn't work out for me, okay, that's cool, I bounce back, you know? And it's all these little things that build this indestructible trust within yourself, because from when you trust yourself, it's not even a thing where you have to trust other people, because you trust yourself enough to know, right, cool, I can see this for what it is, or I know how to show up in this situation, or I know how to act accordingly, or I know what my audience is here, and you know, X, Y, and Z. So think about it like this, right? The goal isn't to never doubt yourself. The goal is to become somebody who still shows up, even when you do. That trust and that belief that you have within yourself, for yourself, that you can stand up fully in yourself, within yourself. So we're going to do things a little bit differently today, and I just want to give you some practical tools, you know, to help you with this self-trust journey. However, these tools are going to be a little bit different. So what I'm actually going to give to you today are 3 promises. So there's 3 promises that I'm going to offer to you, and use them, utilize them, see how they work for you. So the first promise that you're going to make to yourself: keep one small promise to yourself every single day. I don't care what it is. It doesn't matter what that is. That could be, I'm going to go for a walk today. Go for that walk. Honour that promise to yourself. That could be, I'm not going to have any sugar today. Don't have any sugar that day. Keep that promise to yourself. So this week, challenge yourself. Keep one small promise to yourself every day. See how you feel by the end of the week. Because trust is built through evidence. Number 2, promise number 2. Before asking somebody else, I want you to ask yourself first, what do I think? And then compare. And the reason why I want you to do this is because, again, you're turning inward first before seeking external opinions or validation or advice. Trust yourself that you know what is best for you. And promise number 3, when your intuition whispers, pause before talking yourself out of it. And again, what this is going to do is keep building and strengthening the trust that you have within yourself, because you already know the answers are all within. You're equipped with everything that you need. Just saying. Just a little reminder. But you've equipped with everything that you need. So yeah, like, try it and just see if it works for you, because again, like, it's not about being hard on yourself. It's not about punishing yourself. It's about showing up for yourself, loving yourself, trusting yourself, accepting yourself, knowing yourself, understanding yourself. And this is what this series is all about, right? Returning back to self, coming back home. So anyways, amigos, that is it from me today. And rest assured, I am going to circle back to this situation, but I'll be so real with you. I'm very mindful with my delivery on this one. Yeah, so I am going to come back around and circle it back, because again, there's so much that I have to talk about. But I just wanted to ease in with this one, because I don't want people to be harsh on themselves. And it's a delicate topic, and I think it can, it requires a lot of work to shift the broken trust that you have with yourself. And so it is really important that you do give yourself grace and forgive yourself, and forgive all the different versions of you for any time that you have broken a promise to yourself and things like that. You know, this isn't about blame, it's about acknowledgement and being able to truly honour yourself and the season of life that you're in and the person and the soul that you are. So yeah, I am, like I said, we're gonna spin the block, okay? There's gonna be more. We'll probably do like a part 2 or something, but I just have a little food for thought for you, yeah? Because you know I like my food for thought. You know I like to plant the seeds, you know, and keep watering them, of course. But I just want you to think about it, yeah? And just let it sink in and let it marinate. Maybe self-trust isn't about becoming fearless. Maybe it's about becoming someone who knows they'll never abandon themselves again. Let it sink in, then marinate. Don't know who needed to hear this today, I'm just the messenger. If I leave you with one thing today, please honour yourself and start looking in. But amigos, that is it from me today. Thank you so much if you have watched this video. Please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.